All right, welcome to Guarantee News. I'm your host, Garrett. As usual, if you're watching this video for a second, a minute, the entire video, thank you. I appreciate it. You could be watching anything in the world and you're watching Guarantee News, and that is meaningful. Thank you for that. Again, if you're watching, as usual, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at GS Studios. That's GSTEWDIOS. And on this video, comment down below, where am I right, where am I wrong? And also comment, hey, Garrett, this is something interesting that you never talk about, you should talk about. But mainly for this video, where do you think I'm right? Where do you think I'm wrong? And I think this video will be a good place to comment because it has a lot of opinions right now. But I think the conversation is, the gray in the conversation is easy. And you know, in Guarantee News, it's never really black or white. There's always some sort of gray. The size of that gray or where it is in the gray, that's what I like to talk about on the show, right? Now, this episode is going to be about a conversation you've seen on social media over the last couple of days. One man versus, no. 100 men, 100 average men versus one gorilla. Who would win in a fight? This is on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, mainly TikTok and Twitter is what I've seen it on, but you've seen it. But if you haven't seen it, basically what people are saying is, if you take one adult silverback gorilla and 100 unarmed average adult males, so no weapons, who would win? And this is going to be what's called an open field space. You can't just run away, but it's an open field space, right? So you could be able to surround the gorilla. No weapons, but we're going to say no escape. You're not trying to escape unless you're just, running away and then eventually you'd get killed. It's not an open field, right? Open space, but not open field for you to run and get in away. He'd come and grab you and kill you if you decided to run. So that's what the rules are, right? 100 men, one gorilla. And I think this is interesting because, or I think this conversation is interesting, or so many people are talking about it, because everybody, I think, knows if you explain this in a certain way, there's a way that humans can win. So that's where the people that think humans can win are so confident and people are arguing. But on the other side of that, there's people that are like, this is a gorilla. We're getting into the stats of a gorilla versus a man in like literally a second. But everybody's like, this is a gorilla. A human won't win. But I think it's interesting as a conversation and people debate about it because there's a way that humans can win, but it's not going to happen 9 times out of 10. And I'll get to that very closely soon here. But first, let's just look at stats, right? So let's do a gorilla first, right? So, all right. Weight of a gorilla. Let's look at weight. So 350 to 450 pounds. They have a 1,200 PSI bite force. I did a little bit of research, just a tad. Okay, so pounds per square inch. So that's basically saying how many pounds on a small area how many pounds of pressure can you put on a small area, an inch? So a gorilla can do 1,200 pounds per square inch of bite. That's insane. Let me look at this. A bite force of 1,200 pounds per square inch is considered a strong bite and is typically attributed to animals like polar bears or gray wolves. This level of force can effectively crush bones and penetrate thick hides. So that's what the gorilla has. Let's look at a human PSI bite force. So the average human has an approximately 162 pounds per square inch bite force. Now, that honestly surprised me. I'm not going to get into it. I wouldn't think it would be that much, but per square inch, a human can bite 162 pounds per square inch. Okay. A gorilla has 10 times the average body strength of an average human man, 10 times upper body strength, and they have way bigger bone density, way better reflexes, and a way easier to get into and way more natural killer instinct than the average human, especially than the average human today, right? Now, we got 100 humans. Let's say 100 men, and I did this math, but let me get this put up too. Human versus gorilla skeleton, right? Let's just get this put up in the background while I say this. So let's do a little bit of quick maths, right? So 100 humans, let's say the average human weighs about, on the low end, the average man, let's go 150. You might say that's small as an average human man, and I'd agree with you. 150 to, let's say, 180, 185, right? And a gorilla is 450 pounds with, what was the bite force? A 1,200 pound bite force. So if we do 100 men times 150 pounds for each, that's 15,000 pounds. If we do 150 men or 100 men times 180, that's 18,000 pounds. Now, the average human has, what was it, 162 psi. So let's just do 100 times 162. So that's 16,200 psi with all the humans together. And obviously all the humans won't be at the fight at the same time. I get that. I realize that. Just stay with me. So those are the stats, quick stats. Gorilla is way stronger, way faster, better killer instinct. Look at their bodies compared to us. Like, just let me move the camera. Like, just look at the rib cage. How bigger their rib cage is than us. How bigger their head is than us. You can really barely see, like right here with this one, the arms. Their arms go down so much so much further than us on their bodies. So that reach. And I saw something like they could throw a human 10 to 15 feet across the room. So much more stronger, right? Let's get down to the verdict. I'm just going to get to this immediately. 90% of the time, a gorilla is going to be 100 average men living in 2025 today, just off the simple fact that I think you wouldn't be able to get the humans to be coordinated and act together. The only way that 100 humans could be one gorilla is if they all were trained, coordinated, and acted together, and there were about 20 to 40 of them that were willing to give their life, put their life on the become maimed for the rest of their life to kill this gorilla. That's the only way it could be done. And the reason that this is interesting is because if you know the average men, today, the average man doesn't even like to fight another human. A, and B, if you've ever seen anything happen, you've been at a party and the police come, you've been somewhere and heard shots go out, you've just been in a situation of high intensity, the average person's first move is actually a detriment to themselves and everyone around them. There's no either A, stop the process to see what's going on, or B, an immediate jump into action that helps the greater good of themselves or the people they're with. Most humans think for themselves. Most humans don't even like fighting, and most humans aren't even trained or physically able to even run a mile or lift close to their body weight in anything, maybe not even bench press, right? But I'm gonna go through now. So that's the nitty gritty of it. 100 trained men focused and willing to die and doing the right thing could beat the gorilla only by suffocation and going through waves and killing it. But the average man today is not going to go through that and do that for many reasons. But I'll go into so that's what I put on this. You take 100 average men. I'm not going to lie. If you take 100 me, it would probably be over. I would think if you take 100 you, I know you don't want to hear this. I know that you're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself. But if you take 100 you, most people watching this, you would probably lose. But if we had, like, who is his name? Pierre, our UFC fighter, Pierre. If we had 100 of this guy from where is he from? Hometown. Like, he's from, like, San Bernardo de Campo, Brazil. If you don't know who he is basically a man from like a village that basically has, I could be wrong, but he's from a village where it has very little internet. Like they're in an age like 100 years back, and he's an absolute beast, and he's a trained individual. If we had 100 of these men, this is how we would beat the gorilla. It would be in waves of human. And I saw someone say this, and it's the perfect way to say it. It would be in waves. We would have waves of 20. 5 waves of 20 human beings, and I'm going to get into it now. So wave 1. The first 20 men charge. They are going to be 10 of those first wave that get killed instantly by some crazy way. Getting flung, some of them getting used to hit, one of them getting used to kill other ones, bite force, throwing, just absolute mauling. It'll be terrible to see. That's going to be most of the first wave. And the average human being, seeing that first wave get done like that would make, I think, average humans ruin everything else. It goes into chaos. People start fighting for themselves. People start doing stupid shit. It ruins everything. But we're keeping in mind, these are trained human beings ready to die. They were prepared for this, and they're ready for it to do. So we get wave 2 to 3. That's the next 40 men. From that point, you have to start jumping on the gorilla and getting and overwhelming it, using that fact that, say, in 20 men, in a 20 men wave, we have a PSI, what was it, 162? So 20 times 162, that's 3,240 pounds per square inch of bite force. 20 times, let's say, 150, that's 3,000 pounds. Let's say 20 times 180, that's 3,600 pounds. in our wave 2 and 3. Every wave has that, but 2 or 3 is the wave now. While he's mauling wave 1, waves 2 and 3 have to be moving in strategically and smartly to start piling on. Now, while waves 2 and 3 are piling on, there would be a lot of casualties, bite force, biting, things like that. But what you have to do is get on top. Arms, legs. It's gonna be a lot of people that die, but the weight and keep in mind, they're trained. The weight, the planning. By those waves 2 or 3, you can start, I feel like, to start to see the gorilla go to lose ability to move, lose ability to have to do all of this. It's gonna take a lot of mental strength, but it can work. Now we go to waves, 2 and 3? Now we go to waves 4 and 5, right? Waves 4 and 5. Those, at that point, you're hoping 3 and 4, waves 4 and 5 are just to add more people in to the less people dying in 3 or 4. You just got to keep piling in. Suffocation is the goal. You're not going to punch it. You're not going to bite it. You're going to be biting it and doing all that, but suffocation is the goal. The sheer amount of bodies of strong, able to die men would eventually be able, I think, to take the gorilla. If the humans are organized, trained, and able to accept losses, we will win barely. I'm saying in the perfect world, about 30 to 40 of the 100 will die or be injured. And I would say no one gets out with any injuries except maybe 5 people, but it can be done. It can be done, and that's why it's interesting, because there's a gray area. It can be done. It would be 5 waves of 20, right? 5 waves of 20 moving all at an extremely fast and organized pace, but it has to be done in the right way. But it can be done. Let me do this quick math again. Wait. 20. Yeah, 5 waves of 20. So it can be done. But at the end of the day, if you have to give a yes or no, the answer is no, because there's not 100 Alex Pierres that you're going to get. You're not Alex Pierre. You may feel like you are, but you're not. So this interesting conversation, I'll end it with this. The answer is the gorilla would win, and it would win badly, because the average man today would not have the ability to let themselves die, the ability to be trained enough, and the ability to work with other people to kill the gorilla. But if it was 100 humans in a different day and time, or 100 humans that were trained in a certain way, we could get it done. 100 humans is a lot of people, but it's not, 100 people isn't enough just out of the gate. 100 people just in itself, and the weight and steel forces isn't going to work, because I think the mental of it and the physical ability of the average person is just a little bit too low to just get it done walking out of the couch 100 humans. That's my take on this. I know this is very different than what I usually do on Guarantee News, but this was interesting to me. We will get back to our regularly scheduled program. 100 days of Trump is in. We're going to go through those. Amazon and Temu are putting in what the tariffs are going to be on their website. Temu's already done it. Amazon is doing it. And Caroline Leavitt said it was a hostile act. We're getting to that. What's his name? Curb Your Enthusiasm. I can't think of his name. He talked about how we talked about this on the show. And I'm always talking a little bit more because this is a quick Bill Maher. We talked about this on the show. Bill Maher was so impressed by Trump. And the dude that made Curb Your Enthusiasm. Why can't I think of your name? Curb Your Enthusiasm. And this isn't the point. I need to move on from this. What's his name? Creator. Larry David, popular Jew. He wrote a letter. Popular Jewish man. But he wrote a letter basically saying, comparing Bill Maher talking about meeting Trump to having dinner with Hitler. There's a lot of things. Pete Buttigieg was on a podcast, and I want to talk about him. There's a lot of things we're going to talk about. I know this was not the regular Guarantee News, but the gorilla will win, but 100 humans can win. That's Guarantee News. That's a wrap on that. Have a great rest of your day. I hope you guys didn't think that was so stupid. Thank you.